What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. Myself, Josh from OfferVault.com, the industry's largest aggregator of all things affiliate marketing. Whether you're looking for networks to join, programs to sign up with, or affiliate offers to run, and more, we got you covered when it comes to finding your success in this competitive internet marketing space. Once again, today's episode sponsored by our amazing partners, no pun intended, pinup partners. And guess what, guys? You know the deal, they're turning 8, and they want you to know about their amazing contest, the amazing promotion that they're throwing in the iGaming space. If you're an iGaming affiliate or publisher, you need to listen up, all right? With over 500 prizes, hundreds of challenges, and a prize pool worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Whether you're a beginner or an expert affiliate, this contest is absolutely packed with some amazing, big awesomeness. All right, there's no other word for it. The promotion is split into 3 stages, running from now until the end of the year with daily challenges and instant rewards. You could be walking away with something big or even driving off in the luxury car that's up for grabs. And if that's not enough, how does a party in the Alps sound? That's right, the grand prize includes an unforgettable alpine celebration. And just hit up the jet poppy, Harrison Gevirtz, the industry legend, for your private jet to get out there. Ready to dive in? It's simple. Just sign up with their bot by clicking the link in the description and follow the competition guidelines to get started. The clock's ticking. Tick, tick, tick. You hear it? It's going. And you don't want to miss out on this epic anniversary event with Pinup Partners. We do not have Mr. Paper Call today, but that's okay because our guest is worth 2 amazing people. We do have our industry legend, Harrison Gevirtz, and our guest of honor, an industry legend in his own right, Nigel Williams, owner of Alota Media, as well as Copious Clicks. Like I mentioned, he's a legend in the affiliate marketing space that's become an expert at driving sales and leads via pay-per call, form submit, and more. Nigel, from Montreal, now in Lisbon. What's up, dude?
How you doing? How you doing, Josh? How you doing, Harrison? Thanks a lot for having me on the show.
Welcome to the show.
Appreciate you coming on the show.
This, but I started watching your show, following it from the 4th episode. Okay, and that was with Brandon Bowski.
When I hit you up to come on the show, I believe your words were, "I was your first subscriber," something along those lines.
Really way up there.
Yeah,
I'm surprised anyone subscribes, so thank you.
That episode with Brandon Bowski, episode 4, was a good one, to say the least. You know, I have this crazy idea that one day we're going to throw the affiliate marketing party. And to get in, you have to be a guest on the show. And your name tag is just going to be a number representing which episode you were a guest on. But yeah, man, we appreciate the love. I was happy to hear that you were familiar with the show. We love the support. I know just from being in this industry and on Instagram, I feel like you're everywhere. Like every time I'm scrolling through my feed, you're on the show floor, you're taking a group photo at a table at a club in Europe or somewhere. You're a happening dude at all the happening events, and I know we're going to talk a lot about that today. You know, before we dive into the fun side of the industry and everything that comes along with that, you know, I think it was Alota Media. The slogan was driving leads and sales on a performance basis. So I figured, why not start with the most loaded question I could think of? And I want to know, what's the best way to do that? What's the best way to drive leads and sales on a performance basis? I'm assuming you're going to have to break this down into a few different sections, but what would be like the main takeaways for someone that's looking to get started in this space and they want to drive leads and sales on a performance basis?
So basically, yeah, very loaded question. Thanks for starting with the hard stuff. You basically got to go with what it is that you're good at. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm not good at. I am not good at SEO. There are plenty of amazing affiliates out there that are great at driving affiliate traffic, performance marketing traffic by SEO. That's never been my thing. My thing has always been with paid traffic. And personally, I love working on landing pages. Conversion rate optimization is stuff that I'd love to work on. But being a business owner now, I can't work on these kind of things. I got to put the right people in place. But yeah, so the two things I'm good at is basically having teams and buying traffic when I do have a team for buying traffic. And the other thing is through affiliates, because being around forever in this industry, I do know quite a bit of affiliates. And as long as I got the right offer and the right payouts and they're making the right earnings per click or revenue per call, they'll run with me in a heartbeat type thing. So that's basically the way I would do it, because these are the qualities I have that are available to me right away. Some other people are really good Facebook media buyers. Others are really good in Google or TikTok or whatever else. You basically got to start where whatever your strengths are. That's the answer I got to give, because it's the only thing that makes sense to me.
So you mentioned something that popped out to me, right? Now that I'm a business owner, I don't have time for this. So you delegate, right? You find people that are good at that kind of stuff to help in your overall success. Was that something you struggled with up front, letting go of responsibility and trusting others? And how were you able to, well, I guess that's the first question. If it wasn't difficult, then whatever. But if it was, like, how did you overcome letting go of responsibility? And what are some tips that you might be able to give when it comes to delegating and building teams like that?
Yeah, well, let's go back about 8 years where I'm running a tech company. It's the first time I got into this affiliate marketing business. And, I had about 17 people working for me. I was a vice president of that company. So delegation all day and building teams, that's what it was. I was never supposed to do anything myself. The one thing I really took on was the sales and marketing and, going out to all the different shows and stuff. But for the most part, everything was delegated, and that's great. And then I decided, you know what, I really want to start traveling the world, and I don't really want to be stuck with a job that says I can't do that. I got to be in the office. So that's when I started my own business, and I kept it solo for so many years. December 2018, I sold my house, bought a one-way ticket to Bangkok, and did a whole 2-year tour. Then COVID hit. Okay, let me get back to Montreal, familiar territory, until this thing blows over. And then a couple of years later, when that's traveling opened back up, I started doing that. And I've been pretty much solo up until about 5 months ago. And then I was like, okay, it's been a couple of years. I've been trying to do this paper call and lead gen stuff, and can't really do it properly when you got 5 or 10% of your time that you dedicate to it. So finally hired somebody to run Copious Clicks full time. And since then, things have been a whole lot smoother. I started making a lot more progress with a lot of media and doing the paper call and getting things into the places I want them to be. So I'm going to have to probably hire a few more people. But yeah, the tough part is really making the decision. Say, hey, am I really serious about going to the next level? If yeah, okay, now this is what I got to do. And then you just get to it.
How is living in Bangkok? I've gone to the affiliate world shows there, and 4 to 5 days is plenty for me, right? So I'm sure living, it's crazy. Bangkok's crazy. And I mean that in the best way. It's wild. But I assume living there, you kind of adapt. You're not going to Koh San Road and Soy Cowboy every night till 5 a.m.
Oh my God,
so,
no.
yeah. So what was it like living there? Because I know there is kind of a smaller affiliate marketing community in Asia and Bangkok as well. Did you enjoy it? Did you find it difficult working on the other side of the world? Were you one of the people that, adjusted your sleep schedule to be awake when most of the world was working? Or were you kind of just doing the opposite and catching up while people were sleeping?
I tried to adapt the schedule, but it's terrible. I mean, it's 12 hours difference from North America, East Coast. All right. So, and for Europe, where most of my clients were at that time, so it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and Europe is waking up. It's 9 o'clock. Okay, that's not so bad. But then at 9 o'clock at night, you want to be out with your friends, and you're at some restaurant or something, and then your Skype and Telegram starts blowing up because the East Coast is now awake. That doesn't really work too well. So, yeah, that's probably. I would love to move to Thailand, and that is the number one reason why I can't. Maybe I could retire there one day, but I can't run this business from there. Hell no. But every time I go there, and I go for Affiliate World in Bangkok, I got to stay at least a couple of weeks. at
It's a
least.
great place. Thailand's amazing. I'm assuming where you are today, the time change is almost better because you have like free time and then the world wakes up like mid-afternoon for you. So you work in the evenings or early evenings, late evening, whatever, but you get like peace in the morning. So it's kind of the opposite. Like my day slows down after 5, 6, 7 p.m. Yours
Mhm.
is like you get the morning to just live life, right?
Yeah, that is working out for me here in Lisbon right now, pretty nicely. Because if I let's say I'm up at 8, whatever, it'll be at least 2 hours before Europe really starts to start hitting you up and blowing up your instant messages, and then of course later on that day, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then it's East Coast time. So you know what? You could be done completely by 7 p.m. local time here, and that's been super amazing for me. I basically have a much better quality of life being located in Lisbon.
Super cool.
So, Swadika Kapunka, moving on right to our next topic. That was some Thai for you, Harrison. You got to get hip to that.
Damn,
So
I'm embarrassed. I don't know what you said. Okay.
I said hello, thank you. I'm not sure which order, but I'm pretty sure those are the two words.
Guys, it's like welcome or thank you or something.
Kapunkap, yeah, Kapunkap, and then Swadika is thank you, I believe. Anyways,
Welcome to the Thai
Nigel,
language podcast.
yeah,
This
welcome
is
to the Thai
Josh, your
language
host.
podcast.
Harrison, the student. Okay.
We'll be so Nigel, one of the topics you presented to me, which I thought was super interesting before we booted up this episode, was the superpower of networking and
Mhm.
you know the humble brag you kind of made about how you I don't want to say perfected it, right? Because I'm sure it's always a work in progress, but somewhat mastered it, right? So what can people do to become a superhero with networking? What are some like actionable things they can do at conferences or networking events? How did you kind of become so good at it? And on the flip side, like what should people definitely not do that can ruin a relationship right away?
Sure. Well, the personality is one thing, and not everybody has the personality or everything, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about something that everybody can do. And these days, especially in the affiliate marketing industry, the world runs on instant messengers, whether it's Skype or it's Telegram. Those are the two biggest ones. But pretty much everybody is on there. Nobody's really dealing with the emails, really, unless they're going to send an IO or invoice type thing. But other than that, everything is at the speed of instant, right? So nowadays, let's say, I think it's been over a year now. I haven't carried business cards to a conference because it's really not needed.
See,
You
that's
know,
super interesting you say that because I am still a huge business card guy and only like to use it as a reminder. I like taking a stack home with me and I flip through and then I hit them up on the instant messenger. Is your rebuttal to that is you just send them a message right away and that's like your digital business card, or how do you kind of handle
That's
not using
interesting.
business card?
well, it's pretty simple. Everybody that you're having a meaningful conversation with, it's like, all right, cool. We have something going on. Hold on that thought 1 second. Skype or Telegram, which one do you prefer? All right, boom, add each other right away. You just use the QR code that's in Telegram or in Skype. Boom, you're instantly connected. Take a selfie together, put it in the chat, and now whatever you talk about, you throw that in the chat. That is so super efficient. I don't know anybody who's done anything better than that. And that's really caught on in
That's
the last
awesome.
year. And you can't forget each other. When you have the business card and it doesn't have the picture on it, and 9 times out of 10 it doesn't, you're going to try to remember that person you spoke to. And now you don't have to. It's right there in your Skype or your Telegram. You got your picture, you know what each other looks like, and you're good to go. That's so super efficient. And you don't have to write anything down. There's no business cards to lose by accident. Like everything is right there.
That's really cool. I think I was just thinking about this because I don't even bring business cards. I think I have like 11 business cards in my backpack. I kind of go anywhere when I'm traveling with business or not business. I always got my backpack. And you're
I,
so
I
right. Like, I feel like business cards are like the business equivalent of the newspaper. Like, dude, do you know how many times 5 years ago, if I was at a trade show and I walk up to you, hey, Nigel, let me grab a card, you'd be like, sure, here's a card. Now,
yeah.
like, I go have 10 conversations at a trade show. Like, I'm lucky to get two. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I recently learned about that Skype QR code. I didn't even know it existed. Um, it's a game changer. I think it's true. Like, tell me this, have you had issues? Like, let's say, how do you handle this? Like, if you're at a trade show and you have a ton of conversations. So we talk at 9 a.m. and by 6 p.m. you have like 37 new Skype chats. Do you do anything else? Do you like have a notes or like maybe like a Google Doc on your phone or something where you kind of like sidebar your notes so you remember, oh yeah, like I talked to Harrison, I got him on Skype. Harrison wants to talk to me about this. Or do you really just use that Skype? Because sometimes when I have a lot of chats, it almost gets a little bit uh
It's
unorganized. You know what I mean?
it's in the Skype right away. Whatever, whoever I spoke with, we put all our notes right away in the Skype. We both have it. Now coming back home type thing, I got to spend a little bit of time going through both all the Skype and all the Telegram, and I started putting everything into Google Sheets. And then I
Cool.
prioritize high, medium, low type thing, and then of course attack everything in its priority. But only recently have I started doing something else with the leads that I come back with, and that's with the Alota Media Company, because everybody's brand new for me in this whole pay per call industry and lead gen. Everyone's brand new, so I'm just taking in all the information I can from everybody I'm talking to, and and until I get my media buy team built up for that, my idea is like, okay, let me make myself relevant right now to the different people that I met, with buyers and sellers. So that means basically being a network, get in the middle. All right, great.
Sure.
But it's kind of hard to remember what every single person is doing, because one person is like, oh, I buy inbounds, pay per call, auto insurance, inbounds, and this and that and the other. And then I met this other guy, and he's selling pay per call. But I got warm transfers and I got inbounds, and this is what I'm selling, and this is how many I got per day and all that. And it's kind of tough. So I just came up with this thing where, okay, grab any CRM, but I'm having a custom built module that goes in front of the task line, the opportunities pipeline. So what it does is that for everybody I put in, it's like, okay, he's buying pay per call, auto insurance type thing, and inbounds. Could do 1,000 a day at $15 each, whatever it is. And I put all this stuff in, and then we hit a button, and it's going to automatically create opportunities for everybody who's a match. So it's like Nigel is buying pay per call, Harrison is selling pay per call. He can do 1,000 a day on this. Okay, so it creates a task between those two, and the value of the deal is the multiplier of how many you can do. And that creates a task that I could follow up, or I could hire somebody else to follow that up. And that's something that I think is going to be the biggest game changer for me on with Alota Media. So that allows me to continue going to all these different shows, making the connections, doing what I'm really good at, and then I could have other people I hire to follow those things up.
That's awesome.
Is there like a massive red flag, on the flip side of networking that you constantly experience or once in a while come across where you're on the show floor talking to someone and they do or say something that just immediately, right away it's not going to work, whether it's more along the lines of like a personality trait or the way they approach conversations in regards to doing business?
Well, biggest red flag, whether it's on the floor or anywhere, is when people ask to get paid the next day.
Yeah, I figured anytime money's brought up too soon, right?
I get that up. Oh yeah, can we get paid the next day? So that we can work on this relationship. I'm like, oh boy, you couldn't have asked for a more worse thing to say. So, anyways,
So the
basically
networking, it kind of piggybacks into my next topic here around conferences, right? I mentioned at the top of the show, like, I feel like you're at all of them. I don't know how it's possible. You mentioned you love to travel. So many things I want to touch on related to this. So first of all, related to the travel, how much are you traveling? Like, how many shows a year, maybe is a better way to ask it. How many shows a year do you think you're hitting on average right now?
I know it's 8 shows minimum per year.
Okay. So,
You
like,
have the
yeah.
here. Let's list them out. You have the European Summit, which is really good for the casual dating space. I mean, it is the show, and they do 2 a year. One being Cascais sometimes, and the other one is in Prague. So I don't miss those two. This year coming up, they're changing the one in Cascais to be in Seville, Spain. So that should be pretty cool. Never been there before. So there's those two shows. There's Affiliate World, my favorites. They have 3 shows a year. I've done all 3, I think, twice with the addition of Dubai, but I don't feel the need personally to go to the Dubai one anymore. They did in Budapest this year, which was fantastic, and I can't wait to go back to Budapest. That was really, really a nice trip, nice city, and I really hope they continue to have that particular show there. And now you have affiliate summits because pay-per-call space in the US, affiliate summit is a really good show to go to. Even better would be Contact.io and LeadsCon when it comes to that. But I haven't even been to any of those shows yet. So, wow. And then there's ClickBid. ClickBid are the family events, kind of like the Super Bowl events of just only like the elite marketers in the world. And they pick amazing locations. The first one I went to was in Tulum. And that was just like the pandemic was kind of just ending. Travel just started to open. And that was just like a fantastic experience. I met a lot of really cool people. A lot of people were on your show. I actually met them through ClickBid events at first. And then, of course, you have ClickBid Ibiza. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm not missing that show at all. So it's at least 8 shows a year that I'm going to. But probably next year, with the addition of Contact.io, LeadsCon, stuff like that, we're looking at 10.
Yeah, so you're just under like one a month, basically. So everyone watching this, I'm sure, struggles with deciding which shows to go to, right? And people know the importance of that face-to-face interaction at the shows. From someone who travels to 8 to 12 shows a year, let's just say, how do you pick and choose? Like, if you can't go to 8 to 12 shows a year, right? How would you
can I interrupt really quick, Josh?
Yeah.
I just had a thought. So you said you go to a lot of these international shows, but you really haven't, at least lately, gone to like a LeadsCon or a Contact.io, Lead Gen World, like the US shows, right?
That's just starting.
You're just starting. Cool. So at these international shows, are there direct buyers or is it mostly networks that you see? Because you mentioned US auto insurance, for example. I don't think that the big buyers for that are going to the international shows, are they?
Oh, what about the sellers? What about the pubs?
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going after the pubs.
I need both, right? Fair. And let me tell you about Affiliate World Asia. I'm going to tell you, if there's only one thing you guys take away from me talking with you today is do not sleep on Asia. I've met some of the hugest affiliates in pay-per-call, all coming out of India. I've got one right now doing very well for me coming out of Vietnam. I was like, oh my God, like you would have told me in a million years, I'm not going to think I'm going to have someone from Vietnam, or a team, I should say, a whole company from Vietnam that are really doing well in pay-per-call as publishers. So that affiliate marketing show in Bangkok, super important for me every year. I'll never miss it because that's where you would find a lot of guys that may not make it all the way to America or some even the European cities or countries, I should say, due to the fact that they can't get visas. But that doesn't mean that they're not heavy players.
So how would you recommend picking and choosing from all these shows, right? Say I can only go to 1 or 2 shows. What do you think is the most important variable to take in? Should I look at the list of exhibitors and see what's most relevant to me? Is it better to go to the shows that just have a bigger audience in terms of attendees and exhibitors, combination of both? Like what were you kind of looking at in the early days when you could only go to a few and not as many as you go to now?
So in the early days, I was actually exhibiting at a lot of these shows when I first started, let's say in 2006 with affiliate marketing. So, I'd be an exhibitor going to a lot of these shows, but now, so many years later, I don't feel the need that I'll have to have a booth, especially for their services that I offer. I really want to have the flexibility of going around at any time and meeting people that I need to meet. So these days, picking a show is more about who are the attendees, who are going to be there. And a perfect example would be like the ClickBid events. They're not really shows with booths or anything like that. This is really networking events, but with the right people. Enric, the owner of the show, and is really great at putting together some real heavy hitters, people who fit his family vibe, his family concept of yeah, these are great marketers and great people at the same time, trustworthy and et cetera. So meeting
Are
people
you
is
talking
way
about
more.
Henrik?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, friend of the pod. Big friend of the pod.
exactly. You
And
see what I
we
mean?
love the Click Pit events. I mean, were you just in Ibiza a couple weeks ago?
Oh my God, yes.
We had some team members out there. They told me it was amazing, and we're big supporter of what he's doing with the Click Pit events. So shout out to Henrik for sure.
Yeah. So that's a perfect example of how you have a show that they're not in any booths or anything like that. It's just really all about networking with the right people. So that's the most important thing to me, for me to pick a show.
So how do you get the most out of conferences? I think a lot of people struggle with how much time to spend on the show floor versus having the private meetings at the Chandelier Bar in Vegas, right? Or just like outside in a private meeting room versus also the evening networking events, if we want to call them that, parties,
Mhm.
right? Whatever. I mean, they are networking events. Um,
They are.
a lot of business gets done off the show floor. So, do you feel one provides more value? Can you do one without the other, or do you really kind of have to do both and just manage your time appropriately? And what's the best way to kind of attack that ahead of the show to make sure you're hitting everywhere you need to be and talking to everyone you need to talk to?
Right. So I think you got to do them all. You just basically got to be everywhere. It's almost like a branding exercise. You can't just put your name out there just in one place. You got to be everywhere. And see, look, even like you said earlier, it's like, Nigel, I just feel like you're everywhere all year round. Like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, that's it.
Bro, you are everywhere. You're like every other you're every other picture on my feed, dude. I swear to God.
And it's
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's what it's about. So during the daytime, if we have the show floor, um, I maximize what I do by having a shirt that tells you exactly what I'm looking for. You can't miss me. And being 6 foot and 250 something pounds, I'm kind of hard to miss. You know what I mean? So I turn myself into
That's
a
fair.
walking billboard. So if I'm out there for copious clicks, it says I buy and sell dating traffic. You can't miss. So even if somebody who doesn't know me or doesn't know anything about me, but they know they got something to do with dating traffic and they see me, okay, they're gonna do something. My Alota Media shirt, it's like bright blue, electric blue. It says paper call, paper leads on it. Can't miss. And I tell you, I just stand up in the if I'm at an affiliate world, they have like a networking session. I could just stay there for 2 hours and people will come up to me all day long, type thing. So
Sweet.
that's just making the most of your time and everything that you've got. And then the other thing I do at most of these shows is between 3 and 5 o'clock, wherever the smoking area or wherever there's a bar, I actually make time to make sure that I'm there. Because while people are smoking or chilling and having a drink, they're not going anywhere. They're not in a
That's
rush.
also that's also like a really interesting window, that 3 to 5. People are like a little burnt out from the floor. They're excited for
Yeah.
the events to come, and it's just like a good energy. And I feel like it's a good approach to try and find that like side chill, hang out, have a drink area during
You
that
ever,
window.
like the person just sitting in the chair and they're just like, let me network, and you go, hey man, how's the show? And they're like, it's been great. I haven't sat down since 9:12 this morning. It's 4:42. And you're like, what do you do? Boom, business. That's really smart thinking, honestly.
That's been working for me for years. Most recent example is at New York at the Marriott for Affiliate Summit. You know, I do exactly like I said at 3:30. I went up to that bar. I forget what floor it's on, sixth floor, whatever it is. And I'm just talking to everybody I know type thing. And then a few people come up to me. One gentleman came up to me and says, "Hey, you're doing paper calls? Yeah, I got this going on, whatever." And he was from Vietnam, and him and his whole company, those guys are a publisher for me right now and doing very well. And it's like, that's how I found him. He found me basically just because of the shirt. So
What's
that's
your
a real
shirt
practical
say
example.
at the last show?
I saw on the side says paper call, and on one side says paper lead, and on the back it says both. That's it.
I love it. That's great.
Nigel, is it just me, or did the New York Marriott figure out the elevator situation? I feel like it was much better this year. Honestly, usually like past few years I've been waiting for elevators for 15, 20 minutes. This year it was like 2,
I
3
remember the
minutes
first
tops.
affiliate summit I ever went to. I literally waited for like 28 minutes to get in an elevator, and I was like, I'm never staying here again. So I'm glad to hear this.
Well, I don't know the answer to that question because I've never once stayed in the show hotel
Smart
at the
man.
Marriott.
There you go.
You know, I stay like one block away by Times Square.
So wait, why
And
do you do that? I'm curious. Is it to avoid the chaos of the show? Because I've only stayed at the show hotel, and a part of me kind of likes just being able to hop upstairs, lay in my bed for 20 minutes, regroup, and come back down. Do you hate the congestion of the show, and that's why you kind of move away from it? What's your reasoning behind
of
it?
that particular one, yes, it really depends on the show. Most of the time, I love being at the show hotel type thing because I don't want to carry around the bag if I got to, grab swag or do anything or need my laptop, whatever. So I'd much rather be at the show hotel. But sometimes it's really chaotic, like the Marriott. That's why you even asked me the question, and I'm like, I can't answer your question. I mean, I stay across the street. I come in. I use the escalators. I've not stepped foot once in an elevator at the Marriott. The escalators are doing a great job. So unfortunately, I can't answer that
I think
question.
Josh, so I've stayed at the Marriott and I haven't, and my logic has been essentially that when I've done after a 9 hour day or eight or whatever it is, 7 hour day at the meat market table, kind of burnt out. And so I try to book a place that doesn't have a lot of people from the love everyone, but
Mhm.
like, have you ever been hounded in an elevator, Nigel? You get back from dinner and you're just like, I love the hustle, but sometimes I'm old, man. I'm tired. I got like six gray hairs. Not
Dude,
trying to have
right
age.
when the show ends, you get in the elevator and someone says, "So what do you do?" I'm just like, "Oh, no, dude. I don't have it in me right now."
Yo, it happened. So right here in the last show I was at in Prague, and I stayed at the show hotel. And you're coming back from the parties at 1, 2, whatever hour, and there's a lot of people hanging out at the bar and the couch area there, and drinking till all hours in the morning. And you got to pass them to get to the elevator. So what do you think happens? Hey, Nigel, what's up? Come here. I'm like, oh God, no, man, not now. So yeah, it happens,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that's the
So,
life.
Nigel, how important, in your opinion, is it to diversify yourself as an affiliate marketer? I know a lot of people probably might argue, one side saying like, go all in on one vertical, become an expert in it. The flip side of that would be, lower your risk. You never know what happens in this market. It's constantly changing, or in this industry, I should say. So, what's your approach on being an affiliate marketer today in the year 2024, and whether you should go all in one area or kind of become an expert in a few different areas?
Personally, diversifying is the way to go. I've been in one industry for the last 6 years, let's say, in casual dating, and it's good, just a comfortable living and everything like that. But you know, about 3 years ago, I had myself sat down with myself, said, okay, what do I want to get? What's the next step that I want to do? And I said, okay, I want to 10x my income. All right, now can I do it in the same vertical? Don't think so. All right, then what can we do with it? And then that for me was my answer to say, okay, I got to diversify and get into something else. The other thing is, I think we've all been around for a while, and we've seen some industries just disappear with a few policy changes. So, for example, back in the day, I was running an advertising network, and it was focused on the tube sites. Tube sites were just coming out back then. So we had an ad platform, and then a couple of years in, mobile billing and any offers that offered payment solution by mobile billing was super, super popular. And this is not popular in North America, which is why a lot of Americans won't know about this, and Canadians as well. But in Europe, it was very popular to pay for a service and have it added onto your phone bill at the end of the month. So you could buy stuff and say, okay, yeah, I'm getting these sexy pictures or whatever, and like for €5, it's done. All right, cool. You click. That's it. No credit cards or anything. Don't forget, credit cards at that time were not prevalent. Was not widely used in outside of North America, basically. So in Europe, a lot of other payment methods were way more popular than credit cards, and this is one of them. And just look how easy it is. You press one button on your phone and you just bought something for €5 or €9, or you subscribed for €5 a month or €9 a month type thing. It's always been like low amounts, but your conversion rate was insane. So guess what? Your affiliate marketing community doesn't fail, and they abuse the crap out of that. And finally, maybe about 6 years later, all the telecom companies got together and said, you know what? We don't need this anymore for, the casual dating industry, whatever. It's like, you guys are gone. And overnight, I saw 6 companies like done. You know what I mean? They're out of business. They don't have the billing solution. That was their one thing that they did, and that was it. So I've seen firsthand how something can disappear overnight and when companies are finished. The companies that did well were the ones that said they did the typical affiliate marketing. Hit it as hard and as fast as you can for as long as you can, because no one's promised tomorrow and this thing is not promised to work. Those guys came out okay because they understood that this could end at any point in time, and we're now pivoting to something else. Some other companies, they had really tough luck because they didn't really have another plan in case that this one didn't work. So yeah, I'm a big fan of diversifying. I mean, I don't think you can do 20 things really well. I think you might do 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 things well, and that's it. But and that's probably a comfortable thing to do and to protect yourself.
So you
Yeah.
mentioned
I was just gonna
dating.
say
Oh, go ahead.
diversification is like the key in this industry. So you really hit the, nail on the hand with hammer, whatever the analogy is, because
Nail on the
you know how many
head.
times I'm sure you've met someone and they're just destroying one vertical. I've been them before. You've been there before. You're just crushing it, and you don't even think about other campaigns because you're just doing so well. Couple
Yeah.
little changes happen, and you go from being on top of the world to like zero. Sucks.
Yeah, and to a certain degree, it happens every day still today with Facebook and all of their
Yep.
ridiculousness with their over aggressive shutting down your accounts. It's like, what the hell? I was doing so well, and all of a sudden they shut him down. Then you got to deal with farming accounts and lose more money by buying accounts from someone else and everything. I got so fed up when I said, okay, I want to diversify, whatever. I said, okay, let me try doing Facebook advertising. My account lasted 2 hours before being completely shut down, and it was completely white hat. I still don't know to this day, like, what went wrong. But it's like, now I can't even make another account with my email or that credit card or whatever because Facebook is so tough on you with that. And I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm hiring media buy teams that know what to do. I'm not dealing with this crap. I don't have patience for this.
For
You
sure.
mentioned dating. I want to revisit that real quick. Do you feel like that's still a good vertical in our industry to get involved with or be in? And if so, is it a tough entry for newer affiliates? Would you say you really should be a more experienced veteran in the space if you're going to go into dating right now? Like, what are some of the pros and cons, and where do you see that part of the industry headed?
Well, right now, in the last 2 years, everybody I spoke to in the dating space, who are advertisers, let's say, they're saying that it's getting harder and harder to make the same amount of money. More and effort is going into it. So basically, the profits are going down. And from what I see from the super affiliates, the big ones have the full spectrum of services that they're doing to make the money that they make. And when they're buying traffic, they're looking to buy traffic with a return on ad spend of like minus 20, minus 30%. They're not looking to make money right away like most affiliates would be. Why? Because they do the full spectrum, meaning they're collecting the email. So they're going to email this person a bunch of different offers so they can maximize the lifetime value of what they got out of that person. And not only that, they could sell that traffic to other ad networks, people who are just going to be bidding on users from dating email. So, and that over the course of 6 months is what's really going to make them their money. They could also collect the push and monetize that in the same way. And maybe on their landing pages, they make kind of like a members area so they could sell banner space on that. Bottom line is they're doing a lot of things to make money off of that user and not just trying to get that one conversion. And okay, so I paid $10 to get this lead and I'm getting paid $12. All right, so that's it. No, these guys are buying traffic en masse and they're ready to pay high enough to get as much volume as they can so they're losing 20 to 30%. And if you're just coming in, what are your chances of being successful? Up against super affiliates like this. So that is the answer, I think, for someone who's trying to get into the dating space right now. You're going to have to be pretty experienced and be willing to build out the full spectrum suite of services so you can make the most money you can off of the users that you collect.
Harrison, you used to be like an old school dating affiliate, right?
I mean, when I got started in the industry, I'm sure you'll appreciate this, Nigel, there was not as much consolidation. So now, like for traditional, I'll just call it like not adult dating, there's really not as many sites as there used to be. And so like I'll age myself for this industry. Like when I ran EWA, which was the network that essentially turned into Chernobyl, we were one of the larger affiliates for True.com, which doesn't exist anymore, for
Mhm.
SinglesNet, doesn't exist anymore. And then there was like the People Meet network of sites. They had like I'll name five. They had senior people meet, Christian people meet, Black people meet, Latin people meet. They had like 50 different sites. Mormon people meet. Like they had everything you can think of.
Remember that.
There was an advertiser. Let me Google if they're still around, called Spark Networks. I bet you they're not even around anymore. Oh no, they still are. They still on. So they bought Zeusk. Like I was a huge affiliate of Zeusk. Zeusk was like a startup in San Francisco. They own Elite Singles, Christian Mingle, J-Date. So like there's still all these sites, but like Match.com, uh, Bumble, Hinge, Grinder, all those apps, they kind of run the show now for like mainstream. And then like
Mhm.
the real like lead gen affiliate programs are like still like what, like Adult Friend Finder, Fling, uh, etc. They're still buying leads and paying for registrations. But when I was a marketer, like, I'll tell a funny story. So are you familiar with Meetic?
Meetic. Yeah, I see them around.
So Meetic, Metic, is essentially, and I don't even know if they're still around, but they're like the Match.com for Europe.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, they're still around. Wow. Meetic was like the way, and their offers were only on Commission Junction at the time.
Hmm.
And I was successfully running like dating ads in the US for all spectrums, from like a Christian Mingle to like a fling.com. And I'm like 16 years old and I don't know what I'm doing. And see these payouts, and they're like, we're paying 11 euros for Norway. We're paying 6 euros for Portugal. We're paying 9 euros for Spain. And I went and I had my friend translate the ads for me from like, let's just put it this way, not my least adult campaign. And I was killing it. They said my quality was good, da 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 da. And then one day, because they were in Europe, I woke up to like an angry email in broken French from the affiliate manager. And he was like, what the hell are these ads? Like, we're not a porn site. And I was banned from the Medic offers and not paid. And the reason was because my ads were like, I'm gonna tone it down. They're like, have fun tonight with like a
Yeah,
barely dressed girl and like a dating ad, translated in Portuguese or like Norwegian or whatever.
aggressive,
And the
aggressive.
CEO of the site saw my ads and like literally almost had a stroke. And yeah, that's my story of like not be. I didn't even know it. I thought it was just like, okay, that's a lie. I knew it wasn't really adult. The dating website landing page had like my grandparents on it, but the quality was good. I honestly think that might be the most I ever pissed off an advertiser. So oopsie daisy, but dating is just such a great vertical, man, because people are always looking for love. If
Yeah,
someone's
it's
married today, they
evergreen.
might not be married tomorrow, or so whatever. So
It's evergreen. It's only always going to be out there.
for
The
sure.
unfortunate thing is the lifetime value is kind of short, maybe about 3 months type thing, depending on the site you're on. So yeah, that's why in part of my plan of diversifying, I want to get with stuff that has either a longer lifetime value or it's really going to be evergreen and still be able to grow.
Yeah, speaking of
Definitely.
diversifying, I think this kind of ties into it. Like, is that kind of what led you to get more involved with pay per call? Or was there something outside of just broadening your reach related to pay per call that really pulled you in? Because it wouldn't be an affiliate marketing show episode without a small segment on pay per call. So what kind of took you in under the pay per call wing per se?
So it was that I had already made the decision that I need to diversify. I need to figure out like where I'm gonna go with this because I didn't know, and it just happened to be around the time of the first ClickBid Tulum event. And so I'm talking to everybody, doing what I do. And for the first time, I meet this gentleman named Rayson Lau, who's been a guest on your show. You guys know him.
Yeah, another friend of the
I'm
pod.
talking to him, and he's schooling me on the whole paper call thing. And I was like, what? There's no shaving? What? You can listen to the calls? You have quality control? This doesn't exist in anything I've ever done before. Like, you got my full attention now. And I start looking into it. And I think around that time, you guys had the episode with Brandon Bowski. And this is important because everything happened at the same time. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm all gung ho, paper call, everything. And I'm preaching paper call to everyone. And then I watched this episode you guys put out. And it was right at the time where Health IQ imploded or whatever and owed like 275 million or what crazy number to everybody. And a lot of
never came on the podcast. We invited you. I'm stopping there so I don't get sued. That's it. Never mind. I edit that.
Get your own legal advice. Don't listen to anything we say. Everything on this show is a lie. All right, go ahead, Nigel.
So I hear about this massive pitfall that happened, and a lot of people didn't get paid. And I was like, do I really want to get into paper call still? And I was like, yeah, I do. I started talking to people and like, yeah, a lot of people are still making crazy money out of it. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll just be super careful. Because let me tell you, in the casual dating space and running my businesses there, I don't really have any contracts with anybody. It's like your word is your bond, your reputation is everything.
Has that ever burned you?
And that's it. Not once an adult. And I've had people owe me over 6 figures and not even worry about it. But when I saw all the stuff that's happening in pay-per call, I'm like, you're not getting one call until I got an IO master agreement signed, everything. And the takeaway I got from listening to, I think it was your show recently with Carrie Hartman or whatever, it's like, yeah, and
you really do watch the show, huh? That's what I'm taking away.
Of course.
I think you are
guys,
our biggest fan, dude. I like it. I like it.
Out of
We need to
about
make some
80
biggest fan
episodes,
shirts. Send Nigel one.
Yeah.
No
You guys
one
gotta
else. I
send me
don't
some
think. I think
swag.
you're our only listener, so thank you.
Yeah, we get one view every week. Now I know who it is.
Pretty cool, dude. We're like, you're like the guy. Thank
Yeah.
you. Nigel, I can't listen to the podcast. Like sometimes, we have like the little reels, the shorts or whatever. I
Mhm.
have to mute them because when I hear my voice, like I think I was going to use nails as a chalkboard as an analogy, but I would say more like if someone was shooting a machine gun right here, I would rather remove earmuffs than hear my voice on a podcast.
Oh, that's crazy. Come on, man. You guys are
It's
you
just
guys are
fun.
having a lot of fun. And I really do truly love this show since pretty much the beginning. And now
That makes me really happy.
awesome. You guys are doing a great job. And I think I met personally about 80% of your guests. So that's why it even makes it even more interesting for me. It's like, oh yeah, I know this person. I know this person. Oh yeah, I want to hear what they have to say. So I'm watching my friends, that's it.
I think we need to make this party happen where only guests get in. I think that there's something to that. We need to
I'm
look
there,
into
telling you.
that. Yeah. So I just have one more question for you. We started with a super loaded question. Let's end on one. Bring it full circle. What are some of the biggest mistakes you made? Let's just say along the way that really kind of got you to where you are, and you kind of spun it as a positive that maybe you can share with our listeners and our audience that might give them a heads up so they don't have to go through it and they can kind of sidestep it on their way to success in this industry.
Well, I think one of the biggest, or I guess, our more painful lessons was, we're affiliate marketers and we're testing out new stuff all the time. And I think the biggest mistakes I made at the beginning days, it was not having a clear plan as to, okay, I'm going to tank this. I'm not pouring any more money after this amount of time or this amount of resources or whatever, versus just like, okay, I'm going to keep trying this. And like the next thing you know, it's a year later and you burnt 100 grand and it's like, you still have nothing to show for it. So now anything that I'm testing out, let's say I'm going to be testing out a new media buy team. Like, okay, we're going to come up with a plan and there'll be a healthy budget. Let's say it's a 3-month budget or a 6-month budget, but whatever it is, I'm not going past that. It's like, if we didn't make what we're supposed to make by then, whatever, it's done. I'm moving on, and I won't feel bad about it. But at least I know for sure that this is where I'm going to stop. And equally, it's like, okay, what's the goal to push the pedal to the metal and start hiring people? You know, I got to have both of those before I even do anything. And I think that comes from my experience anyways. What was a painful lesson, and something that I try not to ever repeat it.
Fair.
Well, Nigel, thank you. I'm so glad we finally got you on the show. This was fantastic. We'll definitely have you back. For myself, Josh from OfferVault, the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, as well as our special guest, Nigel Williams, owner of Alota Media and Copious Clicks. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.